This one should aggravate some people. This should get some people excited. This video, the title here, Cancel College, Not the Debt. You signed up for the debt. You knew what you were taking on. Why are people having to pick up the bill for you? People that are working their jobs, trying hard. This is the same situation that happened when they bailed out the banks after the 2008-2009 crisis. Have banks acted nicer towards you after you used the people's money to bail them out? When Bank of America wasn't acting right and was about to go belly up, and they used the people's money to help them and added to our deficit, what did that do? Well, last time I checked, when I go to a banker, they won't even pay me 1% on my capital. But what about the time we bailed you out? How come you can't give us an interest rate to compensate for this insane inflation that the central banks and the commercial banks have created? How come when I go to get a loan, I pay them interest? Surely if I want a loan from them, I'm going to have to pay them a big interest amount on that money. But when I give them my capital, and I'm part of the people watching, you're part of the people that bailed them out when they were going belly up, they don't give us any interest on our capital. Why is this? Because the government misappropriates the money. Why do we have a student loan crisis? Why is the crisis 1.7 trillion some odd dollars in student loans? Because the government subsidizes the college system. I strongly believe that they're doing this to make it more appealing to go to college to the youth. Wait. They'll just give us free stuff? Oh, I was kind of not really feeling college because it just doesn't seem really worth it. But if you're going to give it to me for free, well, then why not? Why not go get put into a college system where the goal is to get thrown into a cubicle when you're done? Why not? Put me in debt for that. Sign me up. It's free. Free stuff for us. People don't want freedom. They want free stuff. That's it. And the more they want free stuff, the more they get entrapped by a government that is extending and extending and extending itself. I'm going to go over some of this stuff here in this video because I'm pretty riled up about this, where we'll talk about the fact sheet. Here's the fact sheet from the White House. Want to know another fact? Here's a fact for you real quick before we get into this beautiful plan that they have here. Just like their inflation reduction bill, right? Inflation reduction bill. Really, we're going to spend $433 billion of the people's money on climate change stuff. That's not going to do anything but add to the inflation, but they're going to call it inflation reduction. That's what they did just before this gem right here. What bothers me is that people, so many people have been going to college that it actually doesn't surprise me that they don't understand economics. Yeah, I went there. Most of them bought a textbook for $300 because that's the only textbook that they would allow them to buy from 1982 that talked about economics in 1982, and they don't understand modern economic theories because they were too busy learning useless information, jamming information into their heads under fluorescent lights, not thinking with any imagination, competing against everybody in the same room. You got 300 some odd people in the same classroom, multiples of that class, over and over and over again, spitting out the same individual, saying, I'm different, I'm unique. No, you're not. You're the same. And you're the same as all the people of the graduating classes before you that learned the same information pertaining to the same jobs that are now not there to be provided for you. So now they're using the people's money to bail you out. Truth hurts, doesn't it? It does. Anyway, when I'm looking at this and I keep going through the numbers here and what's going on, it's just disguised as a helpful good thing. But the truth is they're not talking about this. Who's going to pick up the tab? Who's going to pick up the tab? You got $31 trillion in debt, and they're talking about doing a $300 billion student debt relief program. Keep in mind, $300 billion is what this is about, and there's actually 1.7 some odd trillion in student loan debt. Why is it there again? Because the government got involved in the college system. They subsidized college. And here's another great point to bring up about the college system. When is the last time that you drove by, hang on here, when's the last time you drove by a wealthy neighborhood and you're going through this wealthy neighborhood and there's all these fancy mansions and these nice houses and stuff, and you thought to yourself, wow, they sure went to college. I bet they did college right, these individuals right here. Look at that nice car in their driveway. Look at that mansion on the beach right there. They for sure went to college. When's the last time? To all the youth watching my videos out there, when is the last time you drove by a wealthy individual when, yeah, they definitely college, for sure. For sure. No, you don't. You never say that. The college individual is the one acting pretentious. Oh, I went to college and here's my Yale thing right here and and I work here and I do that. They never are the individual that had the independent thought to start a business to build it into being able to be capable of purchasing something like that. You never see college individuals with that. Very, very, very rarely does that ever happen. Sorry, not sorry, but sorry, not sorry. Anyway, I'm not sorry at all for saying that. But I wanted to say that really quick because it's just like it makes it so obvious. And the next thing I wanted to bring up too, before we get into more of this information here on my screen, is if it was about taking money from the rich and giving it to the poor, like they disguise it as, and not just creating more and more inflation, just like the stimulus packages. Remember when we used to talk about on the channel about the stimulus packages? Oh, you spend more people's money, inflation's going to go up. Seems like we kind of hit the nail on the head on that one. Everybody that's been part of the channel, we used to be in these live streams way back when they were doing the stimulus packages. They disguise it like they're helping you. They basically say, here's your help, but they hide the hammer that's hiding behind the back. That's going to happen when they keep spending the money. To give the government more power, you spend more of the people's money. And then once they've spent this much money, and I appreciate if you hit the like button, it helps get this video out to more people. So if you could hit the like button or share it or anything, I really appreciate that because I rely on that because this is information they probably don't want to get out. But the thing is, if we're in a situation right now where we're going to tax the rich, and this whole group of people in power lately are trying to push that program of let's tax the rich and give to the poor. Well, if they were going to do that, why'd they just hire 87,000 new IRS agents? This will break it down for you. There's a few hundred billionaires in the country. Wouldn't you just need a few hundred IRS agents to get those few hundred billionaires? If it was all about taxing the billionaires to give to the poor. Oh, better yet, if you took every dollar from every single billionaire in the country, you would not even make a dent in this deficit. You would not even make a dent in the deficit. You see, they give this information. They say this, take the money from the rich, give it to the poor, because they don't want you to understand the real numbers. If you understand the real numbers, you realize that they can't pay this bill they keep creating, so they're going to come after you. That's who those 87,000 agents are coming after. They're coming after you and me. They're not going after the billionaires. You don't need that many people to go after the billionaires and the high wealth individuals, the top 1.001%. You don't need 87,000 new agents with guns, right? No. They're coming after, don't get any mistakes on that one. They're coming after you and I. That's what they're after. And they're after your money too. That's what they're after. Because they keep spending it like nobody's business. So if they keep spending this money like this, they're going to come after you and I. That's what they're going to come after, to pick up this bill that they keep spending. And here's something hang on, this bill they keep spending. Anyway, they keep getting this bill up higher and higher and higher. Who's going to pick up the debt? By the way, they only take in about 3-4 trillion a year in taxes. And I'd imagine it went down a little bit throughout this pandemic. I'd imagine that number that they're taking in isn't that much. So how are they going to bring that down? How's it going to happen? If they keep spending like this more and more and more, what's going to happen? Well, no, they're going to come up with more and more enforcers to steal from your pockets, to go into your pockets and take more and more and more. And not only that, but just give you mayhem. It's insanity what's going on right now, and it's embarrassing. And why do I say cancel college? Because college is not worth it. Point blank. College is a scam. It is a blatant scam. You have a supercomputer in your pocket. You have a supercomputer in your pocket that you are capable of doing and learning anything you want in this entire world for free. And you're going to a place to drive out of your way to go to some place to overpay for some class to be the same as all the people around you. That's what you're doing. And you're going to put yourself 100 grand in debt for that, 50 grand in debt for that, whatever the amount is. You're going to do that. It's sickening. It's sickening, and it's sad that most people don't understand it. But I genuinely think that the enrollment was going down, or something like that was going down, and people were coming to their senses and going, "Wait a minute, I don't really know if I want to go to college." No, I bet more and more 18-year-olds are realizing, "Wait a minute, most of these wealthy individuals that I look up to, they didn't even go to college, And college didn't help them get to where they are. This whole idea of like, oh, you'll meet the right group in your fraternity. Really? You can make an Instagram account and reach out to thousands and thousands of people for free. You can go and hit them up in their Instagram DM. Anybody can DM me on Instagram. If you're interested in working for Mineral Exchange, if you have a good idea for me, shoot me a DM. You might get a job with me. You know, it's like this world, you can network like nobody's business. So you're going to pay $100,000 or $200,000, whatever the amount is, to get a network around you? Oh, I got a network of my sorority brothers. Oh, my sorority sisters and stuff. We're going to network and we're going to take over just from that. Like, no, it's a scam. It's a scam. And the only reason they give you so much money is because it's a loan against your life. And now they're calling it forgiveness. Forgiveness for what? For being a spoiled brat? That's what you're getting forgiveness for? Because you were spoiled? You're a spoiled, entitled brat that got to go and read books? That's what you need to be forgiven for? What? It's sick. It's sick. It's embarrassing. I have no respect for the people that think this is a good idea. It's ridiculous. And I'm just going to be blatant, point blank about this and not really... I accept the consequences of speaking my mind about this. But let's get to this beautiful fact sheet we got over here. Beautiful fact sheet. The cost of attending college has skyrocketed. The cost of attendance and maximum Pell Grants in 2021 dollars from 1980 to 2021. Now, here's something interesting. Just 10 years before this was when they debased the currency and dropped off the gold standard. I wonder what this chart would have looked like if they weren't allowed to print money to infinity and subsidize student loans. I wonder what this chart would have looked like if we were on a gold standard. I'd be curious, because isn't that interesting how that chart started in the 80s? Bring that back to the 70s and it's going to be baselined. And if they had not debased the currency and printed money to infinity, this would have never happened. All of the charts look like this when it comes to loans and everything along that nature because they printed so much money. This is like the downfall of every society is the same thing over and over and over again. And it's just they debase the currency. It's a starting block of debasing a society. You debase the currency, you put them in a bunch of debt, inflation goes rampant, everything crumbles. Like it's just, it happens. It's not the first time that this has ever happened in societies, you know? And so it's just, it makes me laugh that they're using this chart here when we know what happened 10 years prior to this date right here. They dropped off the gold standard, they debased the currency, and they printed money to the moon. And now they have they have a checkbook of the people's money that they can just keep cashing more and more and more of the people's money. It's not hurting, you know, them. It's hurting generations moving forward. If they're even going to be able to, you know, I don't even know what it's going to look like. I'm afraid to have children, quite frankly, myself. But that's something to be considering here. When you look at a little bit further down here, it starts, the baseline is $10,000 in debt forgiveness, and it can go up to $20,000 in debt forgiveness. If they had the, I believe it's the Pell Grant recipients can get $20,000 in debt cancellation. To me, it's just the start of basically telling people, you don't need freedom. We'll give you free stuff from the people that want freedom. Oh, you want freedom? Well, we'll take away their freedom and give it to the people that want free stuff. That's what we're going to do. The people flipping burgers, the people building houses, the people in construction, the people that are building small businesses, we're going to take more out of their pocket so your entitled self can have fun and be a prima donna in college. You spoiled brat. I don't care. Cry about it. That's how I feel. I genuinely feel that way. It makes me sick to see this happening. People that signed up for college, they knew what they were signing up for. They knew the loans they were taking. They knew what was happening. And what it should be is a crash course in economics. When you realize you took a secured debt, now I guess, you know, if you drop out of college, or I mean, if you went through college, well, now you know at least what a secured versus an unsecured debt is. They probably didn't teach you that in college, but now you know. It's supposed to be a secured debt, the loan that you took. That's what it's supposed to be. But you decided, you took it, and now you have to bear the burdens of it. You don't have to cry to the people that didn't take it. And what happens? What about the people? Let's take a step back. I obviously hold a big bias because I think college is absolutely worthless and a total scam. That's how I feel about it. My personal opinion. If we didn't live in modern society with supercomputers in our pockets and advanced internet and everything that we have, I wouldn't say that. But because we have these tools at our disposal, if I had a choice, if no iPhones existed in the world, none of these existed in the world. This will really break it down in my thought process on this. If none of these existed in the world and I got to choose between having one of these devices or going to college for free, I would immediately choose the device. I'd go, I want that. You mean it can be on the internet, can reach anybody in the world, and you can just shoot a DM to their social media anywhere in the world, and you can surf the internet, learn anything that you wanted to at your heart's at any time for free. Or I get 4 years of free college at some Ivy League school. I would immediately go, yeah, I'll take the device. The device works for me. And keep in mind, this is $1,000. $1,000, like $30 a month, whatever you're doing, like that will get you that right now. And you have that choice, or paying hundreds of thousands or 50,000, whatever it is for your college, you have that choice. So that's where my mindset is at with that. But it's what's sad is, like, what if you went to college and you paid off your loans? How do you feel right now? I want to know. Say it in a comment. We're going to get to the comments here in a second here, but I'm curious to those that went to college, because some people went to college, and back in the day, college was a great thing. You know, I think college prior to, like 2010 was great, because the iPhone didn't exist until 2007 and didn't really mature. Social media and all the things that we have now didn't really mature until about like 2010 to 2015. It started maturing. And now we're in a situation where we just have advanced technology at our disposals for super cheap. And why is that? Because there's competition. If you remove competition and you allow government to overspend, then you have colleges that are charging $100,000 for worthless information. That's what happens. So it's if you had more competition in the college system and the government removed itself, just like with the health system. If you had more competition in healthcare, and you stop making it so hard to get into healthcare because government subsidizes everything, healthcare would be very cheap. College would be very, very cheap if the government got their hands out of it and stopped spending so much of the people's money and subsidizing all these crazy loans for kids to go to school. It's not, the education shouldn't be this expensive. I mean, I've talked about this in the past where I've taken these classes online. I think it's Masterclass. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but who did the class recently? Richard Branson. I took economics, like not an economics class, but a whole business course, learning from Richard Branson about the way he goes through his businesses and stuff. And I'm like, how much did I pay for this again? I looked it up and it was like $180 for a year. And I've learned like multiple classes there. It's like I do that on my own time for fun. I'll take these classes on there for $180 a year. That's the way college should be. But there were people that were literally getting in Zoom classes with like 40 people in the room with them to learn from one individual at a certain select time period and be graded and forced to do all of these stupid things and make you feel like you're not intelligent because they force you to memorize worthless information when you could just be online learning all this stuff at your, however you feel like doing it. Whether you want to learn at 1 a.m, whether you want to learn at 10 o'clock at night, however you want to learn it, you can just learn it however you want. And that's if you pay for it. I mean, most of it's free on YouTube. You can just watch it for free. Seriously. So it's just, it's crazy to me that people are so welcoming of this. And at the same time, they're making more and more IRS agents, more and more people to come in and take the money from the people and spend more and more of the people's money. And they're doing things to cheer this on. Inflation reduction. Yeah, I want to reduce inflation. Wait, you're spending $400 billion on climate stuff, on windmills and stuff. What does that have to do with inflation? Nothing. You're subsidizing electric cars in the Inflation Reduction Act. It's like, if you read the titles, it sounds so great. Oh, reduce student loan debt. Well, who's picking up the bill there, buddy? Who's picking up the bill? You seem to be hiring a lot of agents at the same time that you're doing all this spending over there. But inflation's at 0%, it's at 0%. It went up to 9%, but then it went to 0 because it didn't go higher than the 9% that it went up to, because now it's at 0, right? The same individuals doing this. And it's like there are people out there cheering this on and going like, this is a great thing. It's like you got the Elizabeth Warrens of the world talking about how this is a great thing. It's not a great thing. It's terrible. It's terrible. And it's outright evil, really, because you're taking from people's mouths when they're trying to just feed themselves and their families. And you're forcing them to pay other people to be, spoiled brats. Sorry. I think that it is absolutely a privilege to go to college. It is a privilege. And if you've accepted that privilege, you need to accept the consequences of that privilege, because you can literally just learn anything you want on the internet for free. But you chose to go to some fancy place and learn it a different way. So if you want to do that, then you got to pick up that bill for yourself. You knew what you were signing up for. Learn about, the best business things that I ever learned for myself is when I made mistakes. I've made terrible decisions. I've lost, a lot of money on trades and different things that I've done. And you know what? I didn't cry about it. I licked my wounds and I moved forward and I learned. I failed forward and then I kept building and building and I have what I have now. But the thing is, it's like most people, they want to basically just get more and more free stuff. And that's how they think they want somebody else to pick up the bill for them, which is sickening. I find it to be outright evil. That's how I feel about it. Any advice for upset? The comment section's pretty funny in here right now, guys. I'm sorry. I'm reading some of the comments over here on the left. But I'm pretty aggravated about this, as you can tell. I wanted to go live on this. I haven't done enough live feeds lately. I plan to go live again tomorrow as well. But it's been aggravating, this whole situation, because it's just like, this is right after the Inflation Reduction Act. Right after that, it's like, oh, Inflation Reduction Act. Oh, then we're going to go ahead and do this as well. Chicken Rama. It's unfortunate that Rob can't do a mic drop with the thing suspended. It's true. I can't. But sorry, if I'm surprised people want to listen to my ramblings, because this is me just completely. I read what's going on and I got upset and I just wanted to go live and start a live feed about this. But overall, they're giving $10,000 at a baseline, $20,000 to the maximum. Nearly all Pell Grant recipients come from families with incomes of $60,000 or less. See, they disguise what they're doing behind something that makes you have some sort of feel-good aspect to it. They say something with a feel-good aspect to make it so that it seems like it's a good thing. But when you realize behind the surface of this, now you have children out there that think that they can take, imagine what the damage this is doing. Imagine, here's something to say. This is what I would, just to bring this up really quick, this is probably a bad comparison to make, because one is like kind of a criminal offense. But say you forgive DUIs. Say you have some DUIs and you have some individuals that are like, you know what? We know you're a good person. You crashed into somebody else's car. You got a DUI, but we know you're a good person. We're going to forgive it. Right? You think there's going to be more DUIs on the street? Think there's going to be more people driving drunk? Think about it. It's actually a pretty good example now that I rethink that. It's the truth. The more you forgive, the more they're going to be willing to do the same thing that put them in that position. So now individuals are going to put themselves into more debt and not understand that there's consequences. Now there won't be the story of the person that went to college and said, hey, you know what? Jimmy, I went to college myself and it wasn't really too worth it for me. I started a business, things started going really well, but I never really used that college degree. It put me in a lot of debt and it was really hard paying off that debt. I don't know, maybe think twice before you go to college. You had parents that are starting to talk like that to their kids maybe, and now you have a situation where it's like, well, if they're just going to give away people's money for free, you might as well enjoy the free stuff. How many, when somebody's giving stuff away for free, you'll accept stuff that you didn't even really want that much, but when you have to pay a little bit, things change. So what I'm looking at myself is it's very similar to that. Like if they started forgiving DUIs, how many more people are going to be driving drunk? I'm curious. It's the consequences that make people not want to drive drunk. It's the consequences. I don't even like drinking at all lately. But the thing is, it's like if you have all of us watching this video right now, I want to stress this point. All of us watching this video right now have a friend that got a DUI. Luckily, I've never gotten one myself. But we all have a friend that has gotten one. And they tell you about how horrible the experience is. Man, all for those 3 beers I had at that bar. I can't believe it. I had paid $10,000 and this and that. And I went to the court system, all of this, everything. You talk to those individuals, but imagine they forgave them. You wouldn't hear that story. Because that scares me. When I talk to a friend that got a DUI, I'm like, I can't afford to lose my car right now. I need my car to get to do what I'm doing. If I lost my car, it would be a terrible thing for me. I couldn't get packages to the post office with my auction house. I couldn't do anything without my car. I can't I'm not even going to drink at all because I know how bad the consequences are. But these college kids that have been entitled already and have spent all of this money already now have in their minds, well, actually, Uncle Sam's going to bail us out with the other people's money. We might as well go enjoy it. And then like the thing is also, if I went to college and, I went to a community college for 3 years before I dropped out, but I never went to a 4-year college and I never put myself in debt. I went longer than I should have to realize that it was a scam. But to the people that put themselves in a bunch of college debt and did everything right and got a job and paid off that debt for the last 10 years or whatever, paid off their student debt, listen to a little bit of Gordon Ramsay. How you doing today? Better than I should be. Better than I deserve. Well, what's your problem today? What can I do to help you? I got in college debt. Now I'm $200,000 in debt, and my wife is in $200,000 of debt as well. And what are we going to do? We have $400,000 in debt, and we drive a Range Rover. Well, it sounds like you're an entitled piece of, you know what? It literally is like the same thing over and over again. You'll hear it on there. And then that individual is like the type of person that goes, it's that entitlement factor. Again, people don't want freedom. They want free stuff. And the more and more you allow a government to spend, the more they're going to come after you and I to pay this bill. Somebody's got to pay that bill. And like I said, when they bailed out the Bank of America and they bailed out all the banks in 2009, are the banks acting better to you? Do you think when they bail out these student loan debts, the colleges are going to get cheaper? Really? Like, ask yourself that. You think Harvard's going to charge less? With their huge, you know how much money Harvard has on their balance sheet, by the way, and like trusts and all these sketchy things? They have billions and billions and billions of dollars over there. These sleaze bags, these pretentious sleaze bags. I hope there's some Harvard individuals that watch my videos at some point because I think you're all scum. Every one of your pretentious selves. Most of them are not even worth a fart in the wind, really. And they're boring to talk to. Sorry. Not sorry, actually. I'm not sorry at all. When I say I'm sorry, I'm not sorry at all, actually. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm not exactly fond of these pretentious college individuals. But at the end of the day, I just know that somebody might watch this video and think, wow, this isn't, you're not nice. You're not nice to say this. We should have, education for everybody, and education should be free for everybody. No, competition should be happening in the education space. That's the difference. When you understand capitalism, you understand what competition does. Why do you have a supercomputer in your pocket? Why do you have this iPhone that is unbelievably advanced for so cheap? This should be $1 million. Like, literally. I mean, if this was $1 million, people would save up to buy it. Like, it's that good. You have a supercomputer with a crazy camera on the back that does unbelievable videos, unbelievable photos. You have all of this at your disposal, free social media platforms to reach anybody in the world, grow organically any business that you want. Why is this only $1,000? This device should be minimum tens of thousands, minimum. The reason for that is because of capitalism. Competition in capitalism made this device exist. Not only cheap, but made it better and better and better because it needed to compete against the other phones out there and make Nokia get obsolete. Remember when the BlackBerry was a thing, right? Not there anymore because the iPhone won competition. It won capitalism. But when you have a government subsidizing the college system, it's not going to get less expensive. It's going to get more and more and more expensive because they just get funneled money for free with the people's money. When the government spends money, they close their eyes and they throw a dart. They don't spend money like I spend money. Right now, my business is doing pretty well. Mineral Exchange is going well. I could go and buy myself a brand new Tesla cash, right? Do I? No. I could. Do I? No. Because I want to keep my overhead as low as possible. I want to make sure, do I need a bigger building? No, I do fine in my current building. Like, I want to keep my overhead extremely low, even though I'm doing very well, because I know what it feels like to get the cash flow together. I know the pain it took to build the business from scratch. I'm not just going to spend money blindly because I need to compete. When you don't need to compete, you spend money blindly, especially when you don't need to compete and you're spending somebody else's money. When you're doing that, prices go up. Scarcity is what causes value. When there isn't a scarcity, tomato. When you don't have a scarcity, the price of everything will just continue to go up because they're printing and printing and printing. The money isn't scarce anymore. They've printed it, and it's at their disposal to print hundreds of billions of dollars, trillions of dollars. So of course they're going to do that. And then what's going to happen? Inflation. Obviously, it's so clear. And why is college so expensive? Why is health care so expensive? Because it was subsidized by a government that quite frankly, doesn't really care about you. They care about the next election. They care about the next thing around the corner for them to look good. They're blindly spending money throwing darts at a board. That's really what they're doing. And then at the end of the day, when you look at this and you basically take down just how much debt we're in, you realize that it's like, yeah, that's what they've been doing. And how are they going to pay this back? I don't know. Probably hire a bunch of agents to go knock on yours and my door. Probably that's the way they're going to do it. Here's something interesting that I found out when I was doing my research here. Americans, let me move myself up. There's a comment in there saying, great soft GNU. Cancel education. Okay, Rob. No, cancel expensive education. Cancel pretentious colleges. Cancel overpriced colleges and underinformed individuals taking these loans to go to an overpriced, overvalued college that makes you not unique at all. It makes you the same as everybody else in that college walking around you. Not unique at all. I repeat, all of the people in your classroom learn the same information as you. You are not unique. You will not get ahead of them. You will be the exact same individual as the people around you that you learned. I'm saying cancel overpriced colleges that do not make you unique in any way, shape, or form. That's what I'm saying. But you can cry about it a little bit more in the comments if it makes you feel better, because I won't censor you here. I'm sure you'd like to censor me, but I won't censor you here. So go ahead and cry about it in the comments. But anyway, Americans owe nearly $1.7 trillion in student loan debt spread out among 48 million borrowers. That's about $412 billion more than the U.S. auto loan debt. So you got $1.7 trillion in student loan debt, and they're doing $300 billion right now just as the starting block. And how are they going to be able to relieve $1.7 trillion in debt? Well, they're going to keep adding to this. They're going to keep adding more and more to this and come after you and I to pay that bill. And it's just going to keep adding and adding more and more and more, and inflation is going to get hotter and hotter and hotter. And they're going to keep making up these cute little things like forgiveness. Forgiveness for what? Because you got to go to a pretentious college, you should be forgiven? What? I just don't understand it. When I was a kid, you used to it just, the whole system itself is just unbelievable to me. And it's just as sad to see this happen. Anyway, here's something interesting. So I was trying to log into one of these. I think this was the website. So it actually did let me get in on the website now. But when I first clicked this, it was like spinning, like there's too many people trying to learn about this student aid program. And it wouldn't let me into the site. And so now I think it is letting me in the site now. But I was going to talk about like how many people are running to it right now to get the free stuff. Like, oh, there's free stuff. I'm going to go and get the free stuff. I want more free stuff. You know, it's going to be great. I want more free stuff. So now it's doing it again. Watch, it probably won't let me go through. I just wanted to refresh to show like how many people are looking in to try to figure out more about federal student aid stuff. And it's sick. It's really sick. And 90% of debt and this is, by the way, this is like not a right-wing website. This is the White House. This isn't like a conservative libertarian website or anything. I'm a libertarian myself. I'm not right or left. I'm just libertarian, which is probably further on the right than the right and further on the left than the left. That's how I stand. I believe in small government. But nearly 90% of debt cancellation benefits will go to borrowers earning less than $75,000. By the way, $75,000 is a pretty good chunk of change. So if you're making like $70,000 flat, you can take advantage of this. You know, it's like the idea behind all of this is just sick to me, and I'm not for it at all. I'm not for it at all. People need to be, and here's the other thing is like, how many people that have student loans and stuff are trying to get in like the business world? They want that. Ultimately, I think most people want to be an entrepreneur. Like if you get a business degree, you want to be an entrepreneur, and it's free to be an entrepreneur. Literally, you can literally figure out a way to bootstrap your business with the tools that you have at your disposal. You don't need a degree for that. Like most of these business degrees are worthless degrees. Like how many, statistically speaking, they're talking about statistics of like how much 90% of people are making less than $75,000 that'll get this amount of money, right? Well, let's talk about statistics a little bit. How many people got a degree that is pretty much worthless? How many people got a degree that doesn't really apply to anything to get a good job or anything like that? How many? How many people got the psychiatrist degree, not psychologist degree? Excuse me. How many people got a business degree when they want to be an entrepreneur? You know, how many of those individuals are out there? I'd imagine quite a few, because the only valuable ones I can think about is if you were like a lawyer. You want to be a lawyer, a doctor, or something like that. It's pretty valuable. But the business ones are if you're not an MBA and you just got a 4-year, I mean, even an MBA isn't enough. People got to go back for another thing to get their, I don't even know the lingo behind this. I think it's called a doctorate. You get a doctorate after your MBA. You got to be a doctorate now to get that. And you're just going to get more and more in debt to have something that makes you look cute on a piece of paper. Like, think about that. All of that just to get a cute little piece of paper to go, look at my fancy resume. Pay me a lot of money. Look at my fancy place that I went to college. I'm $200,000 in debt. I deserve this fancy job from you. It's like this entitlement that I've interviewed people that, you know, I need some help with website stuff, the stuff that I'm building. And every person that I actually like and want to work with is usually some like bootstrapped entrepreneur, like overseas, literally is like an entrepreneur that's like, oh, I have this cool idea. I got this idea. This is, and if you asked them where they went to college, they'd be like, I don't know, but I am really good at using an iPhone. I could help you on your social media. I'm really good at editing videos. Like things like that. I get that all the time. And those are the people I want to work with. I don't want to work with somebody that's like, here's my fancy resume. I have a bunch of debt. I'm entitled. I deserve a lot of money. Look at this degree. Look at this golden ticket that I got. I saw a meme recently. You know, in Toy Story, when there's like the shelf of all the people or all the toys that are on the shelf, and they're like, they act like they're different. It's like, I went to college. I'm different. I'm unique. And I went to college. I'm different. I'm unique. And it's like this whole line of all of those toys that are the same thing. It's like, if you really break it down, if you're like if you were looking at it from like an alien perspective and looking in on the college system, you're like, wait a minute, they have these supercomputers in their pockets. They have advanced computers and internet, and they can reach anyone in the world, and they can study whatever they want for free. What is this? They drive there to go into the same room to learn out of the same textbook, and they force this information in their head to teach that. What are you teaching? How good of memorization you have? Memorization doesn't teach imagination. Like it doesn't teach you how to do the things that you need to do. Memorization is just memorization. Sure, it might have like something to do with your IQ a little bit if you can memorize well, but it doesn't make you be imaginative. It doesn't make you have execution. It's not the same. And so this whole system, it just seems so fake. It's such a fake scam to me. And the entitlement of the next generation, I think, is going to be rough. And I think that this, just like I talked about with the DUI situation, if you forgive DUIs, more people are going to drive drunk. I would imagine that's pretty accurate. You forgive more student loans, more people are going to be careless about how much loans they take, which will then pass that carelessness on you and I. And they're going to have to come to us to pay the bill. You know, I'm gonna make a call out here. I think that this scares me to say this, but as more and more people flee the states that have the states that have higher taxes to go to states like Florida and you know, Texas and things like that with no state taxes, it makes me wonder if the federal taxes are going to go up. And I think that's would be something that sparks something very rough. And I wouldn't put that past them. I wouldn't put that past them that they're going to raise the federal amount at the same time that they're hiring. I like to think in terms of chess, you know, and to think moves ahead. I've always been a big fan of chess ever since I was like a little kid. And I think a few moves ahead on this one. And moves ahead on this would be, you get the agents there to establish the new protocol, and then you change the protocol after you establish the enforcement of said protocol. So that scares me. To even say that out loud scares me. Because if they're spending and spending and spending like they are right now, I mean, look, we have no right to be involved in the things that are happening overseas right now, especially with where we are at as a country. We don't need to be fighting other people's battles and spending our country's money in other places. That's not right. I was watching this thing. I think it was Mark Moss was interviewing Gerard Celente, I believe. I like the guy. I like that Celente guy. He's a cool cat. And I was listening to him. He's a little bit. I'm a little bit off my rocker as well. So I got nowhere to. I have no room on that one to talk. But I liked what he was talking about in regards to that situation. It's careless spending of the people's money, and it's because the money is out of thin air. Because they can just print this money and have it at their disposal, they spend it with no care about the future generations that are going to have to pick up that bill. And as they continue to spend more and more and more and more money, they're going to come after you and I to pay that bill. And how do they do that? They're going to raise the taxes probably. That's my personal opinion on it. I'd imagine that whatever the federal rate is for you, they change that and they raise it. And then after they raise it, they go and they enforce it. And you'll have a bunch of, you know what? I don't even care. A bunch of indoctrinated fools that got a college degree cheering them on to do it. Yeah, I want my free stuff. You go get them. Go get those entrepreneurs. They won't hire us to pay us $200,000 a year like we deserve. Go get those entrepreneurs. I can see it now. Yeah, they don't deserve it. They just worked really hard and, bootstrapped a business. And they did the American dream. They don't deserve that. We deserve it. We went and studied out of textbooks under fluorescent lights. We deserve these high-paying jobs. They're not hiring us anymore. Look at my fancy resume. Look at my golden ticket. I deserve a fancy job. They're not hiring me for some reason. You go get them, agents. Raise the rates on them. Go get them. Tax the rich. Give me more free stuff. That's what's happening to America right now. I don't believe in free stuff. I believe in freedom. I believe in small government. I believe the government can't do anything right. They're fools, incompetent fools. They're about as incompetent as a college-educated individual. Got a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. Sorry, college kids out there. But the thing is, most college kids, they tend to agree. They end up, at some point, a lot of people that paid for a fancy college, once they graduate, they realize, wait a minute, most of the valuable information came from the jobs after the college, came from actual experience in the world. That's where you actually get the real information. The thing for me that made me learn the most was all my failures. God, I can't even, how many times did I fail? It's ridiculous. How many times, I remember having a bankroll of, one of the most painful failures I ever had is I had a bankroll put together of about like 20, 30,000. And I remember losing $10,000 in a day on a really bad trade. And I remember the pain that felt like. And I went, you know what? I'm not going to go for the 100% gains anymore. I'm going for the 10%. I'm going for consistency now. That was too painful. I need something real. I remember losing a ton of money on options. I remember literally I must have made and lost $100,000 like at least 5 times in options trading. And I realized that there is no free stuff. There is not anything easy. If you make it easy, it'll go easy. And I stopped doing options trading. I stopped doing gambling. I started building. And people that know what I do, they know that my business is Mineral Exchange, my auction house. It's been scaling pretty fast. It's why I haven't been making as much videos as I should be. So if you're registered on my auction house, that's what I've been building. We scaled from doing a couple items a week to now doing 51 items a week, tens of thousands of dollars a week in items on the auction site. I'm scaling it in real time. So if people that watch my videos, what does this guy know about business? I'm building one right now. You can go and watch it. You can watch what I'm doing. And I'm putting in everything. I don't work 60-hour weeks. I don't stop working, period. I'm working 24 hours a day. Sometimes I'm working in my sleep. I'm sleeping thinking about what I'm going to do the next day because I'm working so hard on the stuff I'm working on. That's the things that build the economy is people that want to create jobs or people that want to build businesses that then create jobs. I'm looking to hire a lot more people. I'm actually pretty much in that process right now. And the thing is, it's like, well, if you keep beating up the entrepreneurs to pay for the free stuff for other people that are entitled, there's not going to be an entrepreneur to pay the people that want those jobs. It's that simple. If you want a good economy, if you want low inflation, you got to make more stuff. And who makes the stuff? Entrepreneurs make the stuff. Workers make the stuff. doesn't come out of nowhere. If you want inflation to go down, you got to make more stuff. And nobody wants to do it. That's how I feel about it. The thing is, it's like, I hope that there will be like-minded individuals out there that understand where I'm coming from on this, because there's surely going to be a good amount of people that say things along the lines of, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. This is helping this, and that. If the college got out of meddling with, if the government got out of meddling with the colleges, the price of college would drop tremendously. It would drop tremendously, and education would be pretty close to free for everybody. I mean, look at this masterclass thing, for example. I don't even, there's not a link in it in the description or nothing like that. It's only a link to my own business. But I'm just saying genuinely, I learned there's a negotiation class by Chris Voss. There was a Gordon Ramsay class to learn how to cook. There was a business and entrepreneurship class from Richard Branson. All for like $100-something a year. Would you rather take a Zoom class listening to your professor? Or would you rather learn from Richard Branson from the Virgin Islands, a multi-billionaire? I'm gonna choose to learn from Richard Branson for $100 or something. Yeah, I'm gonna do for years. I can do this for years for a few $100. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'll pay for it in my own ways. And so I look at it from a value perspective. I think because when you're taking free stuff, you don't understand how hard it is to make 10 grand. When you're accepting 10, 20 grand for free, you don't understand how hard it is to make 10, 20 grand. I remember living in the back of my car, hustling pawn shops to make my first 10, 20 grand. Literally. Going pawn shop to pawn shop to pawn shop, finding stuff that they had underpriced and sold it online to hustle together my first 10, 20 grand. So I understand how hard it is to get that kind of money together. It ain't easy. It ain't easy at all. So I think that there's a lack of perspective that more entrepreneurs are going to understand that there's an entitlement factor here, that people don't understand how hard it is to get together that kind of money. Because it's not just getting that kind of money. It's not just, the hard part is that to actually keep it. It's not about what you make, it's about what you keep. So if you're in a position where you have a $10,000, $20,000 bankroll, liquid, sitting there in an account, it's not as easy as you think to get that together. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. Most people, even people that are making over $100,000 a year, are living paycheck to paycheck. Even they don't have 10, 20 grand sitting there in the bank. That's facts. That's a hard one to comprehend. And so when you realize that this is just giving that kind of money out to people and they're just deducting it and putting it onto the deficit, I mean, it's scary. It's scary. So maybe I see it from a different perspective. But again, this is just my opinion. This is all my opinion. And I don't believe in college. I think college is a scam. I think that it's there to make people, it's there to take advantage of people, really. I mean, why don't they teach kids what a secured and an unsecured loan is in high school? In public school? When you're a sophomore, why don't they teach you more about business? Why don't they teach you how to form an LLC, what an S Corp does? Why don't they teach you what QuickBooks is? Where's QuickBooks 101? I would love QuickBooks 101. That'd be a great class. You know, how does the banking system work? So what's the difference between an ACH and a wire transfer? What is it? Why do you want people to pay with an ACH or a wire transfer instead of a credit card? Oh, you can't get a chargeback on a credit card. What's final settlement? What's the difference? Why are people afraid of checks? Why do they make them wait 4 days? Because they want final settlement. Why is that? Teach people about commerce. Why are you teaching about stuff that is? I don't need to know what the powerhouse of a cell is. Why do I need to know what a mitochondria is? I don't care about what a mitochondria is. Teach me finance. Teach me how to be financially literate in high school before I accept a $100,000 loan to go to some pretentious college that teaches me pretty much nothing. It aggravates me. It aggravates me, and that's the truth of the situation here. And there's going to be a lot of people that don't like the truth. But you know what? I didn't censor you. You can go and comment as much as you want. Go ahead. See, that's what I think. I think that if I don't want to get too. I try to be more subtle sometimes as crazy as that might sound. I don't want to go too overboard, but a lot of people that have gotten to know me a bit from this YouTube or follow me on Instagram or any of that, I think you can see where I stand in regards to all of this stuff. But I try to walk that fine line. In this video, I didn't do too well of a job. I think college is blatantly a scam. I think it's blatantly a scam. I think it's totally not worth it. If you're paying more than $10,000 a semester, it is absolutely a scam. Absolutely. I mean, God, imagine, like I did a video talking about college as a scam prior to this live stream. I just wanted to do this one live because it bothered me so much learning all of this information here. Imagine I put $100,000 in front of you. And here you go. Here's a stack of 100 grand. Actually, 100 grand's about. Anyway, you put a stack of 100 grand in front of you and hundreds. Here you go. 100 grand. You get to choose. You go to Johnny, who's playing video games in his room. You go, Johnny, you get to choose. You get this 100 grand or you get to go to college. Which one are you going to do? Which one do you want to go? 100 grand here or spend it on college for 4 years? They got frats there. They got a fraternity. Which one do you want to do? It's funny because that kid, by their parents that forced them to go to college, this has happened time and time again where they go, we're so sick of you playing video games. What are you doing in your room playing video games? You want to know who that kid might have been? Ninja. Know who that kid might have been? PewDiePie or whatever. Ninja, PewDiePie, whatever it is. If he's doing reviews in his room of whatever it is, some toys or something, there's parents out there. What are you doing, Ryan? Reviewing these toys in your room on YouTube and stuff. You know, that's foolish. You need to go to college, Ryan. Well, Ryan's toy reviews is worth tens of millions of dollars right now. This youngster just wanted to review toys. The world is changing. The world is changing and college is a blatant scam. You take the 100 grand and you build a business with it. Take the 100 grand and spend 1,000 of it on an iPhone and get 4 walls that are decent with a shower and start learning stuff. That's what I would do. If I had to start over from scratch and you took everything away from me, if I lost my auction house, if I lost Mineral Exchange, lost everything that I have, all my social medias, all this YouTube thing, everything that I have around me, and I had 100 grand, keep in mind, I think that's greedy, but a lot of people take a loan for 100 grand. So we're going to say 100 grand. If I was starting from scratch with 100 grand, I would buy a Mac Mini because I think it's a pretty powerful computer with a lot that it can do. I'd buy like 4 monitors that could connect into that Mac Mini with one of those little monitor device things, mainly because that's what I'm using right now. I would get high-speed internet. I'd pay for high-speed internet, and I'd get a pretty decent place to operate with like $1,000 rent. And I would just sit there learning stuff and building stuff on social media. That's what I would do. And I'd use the extra, and that would only cost, keep in mind, that'd cost less than 5 grand. I'd have 95 grand in bankroll to build my businesses with. I would be in a year I would be tripling that. Maybe more. Within a year, I would be using that money to make 20 grand a month. Within a year. No doubt about it in my mind. Now, maybe I'm a little bit different because I have a little bit of knowledge on the stuff that I've learned, but I think that is a relatively easy thing to do. If you had a bankroll of 95 grand, you had a supercomputer, you have high-speed internet, you have an iPhone, you could literally build a business and do anything you want with that business, learn any information that you wanted online, take any course that you want online, even the expensive ones online. You could take expensive courses online for like 5 grand that are probably not worth it, but you'd still get access to that. I'd buy like the masterclass thing for $200 a year. I'd do that. I'm not going to go to your fancy college and try to act pretentious and go to some library or something. I'd rather just be learning by myself. I learn on my own time. That's why I like Nikola Tesla so much. I like the things that he said. Antisocial behavior is a trait of intelligence among a world of conformists. Nikola Tesla. I'm a big fan of that. I think that more people need to spend some time alone and study on what they're going to do with their life and take some more time on what they're doing with that bankroll and understand that, hey, these loans don't come from thin air. There has to be repercussions for accepting all of this money. And if you do that, then the word will spread that, hey, this was a bad investment. If you have a bank that doesn't do good investing for you, what are you going to do? You're going to tell your friends, hey, don't use that bank. That bank really ripped me off. Didn't do a good job with my money. Less people are going to use that bank. It's that simple, and not enough people understand it. The word needs to spread that college is a scam, so less people go to them, and then they have to charge. And know what happens? When less people attend, the prices have to go down. You got to compete. Oh, would you look at that, you prima donnas at Harvard. You got to compete. Oh my gosh, that's a term that they don't understand. It's Stanford, Harvard, all these little Ivy League schools that they got. The term competition, free market competition. Do you understand that? You've been so subsidized by the government that I'm sure you don't teach that free market competition. If you're not providing value and you're overcharging for that value, that means the prices need to go down. If competition is heating up and there's a better way to learn for much less money, your prices need to go down. That's what needs to happen, and it's not happening because more and more of our money is getting spent subsidizing this corrupt system. On that note, that is pretty much the things I wanted to bring up in this video. I hope that there's some youthful individuals in here because this is stuff I would have loved to know back when I was 17, 18. I would love to have told myself, you're not going to be any different. You go there, it's not going to teach you how to be a millionaire. Again, I got to be honest. There's I forget where I heard this from, but I kind of put my own spin on it. It's just like, I can't recall the last time that I drove in front of a mansion and thought to myself, oh, that person went to college. Richard Branson definitely went to college. Sitting there in the Virgin Islands on his own island, definitely went to college, that guy. Must have went to Harvard, him. No, you never think that. See a fancy car, never do you think to yourself, oh, definitely, probably went $200,000 in debt, got a student loan forgiveness thing and something, and then, got 10 grand off of that or whatever. And that person, that's how he got the Ferrari, for sure. That's how she's driving in the Range Rover. See, somebody driving a fancy car out there. Yeah, they went to college. For sure. No, they didn't. They employ people that went to college. It's a hard pill to swallow if you're in debt right now with college degrees. I saw a super chat earlier, and I don't miss the super chats, so I usually get to those towards the end of the video. I'm going to go through the comments here. I'm sure there's some individuals that are not very happy with some of the stuff that I say in here. William Bedard gave me $5, says, I've watched you for years. How you don't have 1,000 watching boggles my mind, Rob. You keep telling the truth. Much respect. I appreciate you, William. I got to put more time into the YouTube thing. It's partially, if there's any lack of growth, it's partially my fault, or mostly my fault, I would say. I've been so busy building my business. I've always wanted to have an auction house, and I finally have one. And so now I'm just scaling it, and it's kind of crazy. I mean, last week I think we did 35,000 last week in sales, and then this week we're probably going to be around that range, maybe 40,000. Actually, that coin on my shelf right there is on my auction house this week. So I've been building the auction house lately, so I haven't been making as much videos as I should be. This is I haven't done a live stream in a couple weeks, and so I got inspired by what was happening with this college system here. But if you want to check out what I've been doing with my time, go to Mineral Exchange. I could actually show you guys. I know some people they'll tell me, oh, don't show your website, blah, blah, blah. This is what I've been building. This is my company, mineralexchange.com. I have an auction house. I mean, we're auctioning some pretty cool stuff this week. I'm not going to lie. I mean, that piece right there is on my shelf right now, the Gold Standard Corp piece right there. And so this is my company. This is the stuff that I'm building. So didn't take a college degree to learn how to build a website. Didn't take a college degree to learn how to do photography. Didn't take a college degree to build things that I have. I never thought I'd own the domain mineralexchange.com or mineralx.com. That was really hard to acquire. Didn't teach me how to acquire a domain. Didn't teach me how to park a domain. Didn't teach me how to scale on social media. College didn't teach me anything because I didn't go to college. I dropped out. So if people want to know what my prerequisites are to build my business, it's not college. Nothing to do with college. So that's my business. That's the things that I've been building and why I've been a little bit away from YouTube. But I plan to make a lot more videos after things are starting to get more streamlined, which they are. So I want to start making a lot more videos on YouTube. So if you're subscribed, I really appreciate. Vacation time's in the house. He says, where can I petition to have my Mineral Exchange purchases forgiven? I'd like to buy that 10, 20,000 worth of gold and silver on loan and have it forgiven too. It's a good kid. Just reach out to those people in power right now. Farhan Balance says, what about those who paid tuition for trade schools, which those jobs are starting to make more than regular jobs? It's a decent point. I think that's a decent point. I would like to see some statistics behind that. If you went to trade school and you learned how to be a plumber, you learned how to do, construction or something like that, and you got yourself 10, 20,000 in debt and it specifically went to those individuals, I think that's going to be an anomaly, to be honest with you. But if it isn't an anomaly and there's actually, 20, 30% of this money going to that changes my mind a little bit. I would like to see that money going to trade schools. More people do need to go to trade schools, but unfortunately, I would like to see the statistics behind that. Maybe somebody else in the comment could bring that up, but I think that's a good point that Farhan brought up in the comments there. If it's going to trade school, it's interesting if that's possible. Bite Hunter in the house. Bite Hunter, I apologize. I just saw the super chat. I scrolled up here. I don't like missing the super chat, so I scroll up and make sure that I get to all of them. Bite Hunter says, I paid off my student loan because I knew I would not be able to get a mortgage if I did not pay off my student loan. Indiana University was a pure waste of time for me. Here's a blatant example of what we're talking about here. Bite Hunter, who has been with me on my channel for quite a long time, actually. I really appreciate you being in all these live streams. Whenever I'm in a live stream, usually you're in here, and usually you're giving me a super chat, and I really appreciate that, Bite Hunter. And it's interesting to hear that in real time like that. I paid off my student loan because I knew I would not be able to get a mortgage if I did not pay off my student loan. Because when the bank looks to give you a loan, they're scared to see a big debt there. They want to see no debt. So they want to see you have X amount of cash flow coming in and Y amount of debt that is under the cash flow. And if you have debt and cash flow isn't at the debt level or it's even at the same level, it doesn't get you the loan to get the mortgage. And so here we have Bite Hunter in the house that is literally giving us an exact representation of why college wasn't worth it for them. I paid off my student loan because I knew I would not be able to get a mortgage if I did not pay off my student loan. Indiana University was a pure waste of time for me. I'd be curious to see to know how much that loan was too and how hard. But then how do you feel right now, Bite Hunter? Like, how do you feel knowing that you did do the right thing? You accepted the consequences of a loan and you even are willing to admit that it wasn't really worth it for you at the same time. So I commend that. Not many people are able to do that. The problem is with college is they make people get so pot committed. The more pot committed you become, if you've given years and years and years of your life to college, and then you have a pile of debt, it's so hard to hear somebody say it wasn't worth it. And I can understand that perspective. And I feel for you, individuals out there, not you specifically, because you are admitting this, Bite Hunter, but I do understand when somebody doesn't want to come to terms with, hey, this really wasn't worth it. I could have done a lot more with this capital than that college gave me. The experience wasn't worth it for me. I learned a lot more on my own, just watching YouTube videos and stuff and going around online for free. But it's nice to hear somebody say that in real time like that. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the super chat, Bite Hunter. Thank you. Armando in the house. Oh, you know what? That's so funny. Armando says, he goes, I've learned a lot since your early GME videos. Glad to see your channel and auctions are going really well. You got great economics videos to recommend to family and friends. Armando, I really appreciate you. And it hypes me up to that you were around when I was talking about the GME videos, because it didn't work out so well for the AMC and the GME crowd. There ain't no free sandwiches out there, everybody. Just remember that. I think it was like the Wall Street Bets founder dumped a bunch of, I think it was like Bed Bath & Beyond recently. I was just reading a little bit about that, where they were like, all of these stocks that were getting pumped up. I went out and said that I don't believe in them. I think their balance sheets are bunk. I wouldn't invest in that. And when that was happening, it's like it's probably like this crowd of college individuals. They don't want to believe that they made a bad investment. They don't want to believe that they made a bad investment. They don't want to say it out loud. But the thing is, and when someone calls them out, it's hard. So like the GME, the GameStop, the AMC crowd, the Bed Bath & Beyond crowd, all the different crypto tokens out there crowd, they don't want to be told that they're investing in something that's a bad investment. You know, it hurts to hear that. But at the end of the day, there aren't any free lunches in this world. So if you're looking to get easy, free money, it's just not the way to go. It's not going to scale. But I appreciate you being here, Armando. And then Bite Hunter just gave another super chat, says, I feel relieved having paid off my $15,000 student loan. paid off of 15,000. You don't have to give me a super chat every time, Bite Hunter. I'm still looking for your comments, but I really appreciate it. But says, I feel relieved having paid off my $15,000 student loan. That's a lot, you know. And I bet. And here's another. I'd like to ask you a couple questions, Bite Hunter. You don't have to give a super chat every time. The 15,000 in the scheme of things, well, actually, that would have been covered by this policy here. So first, I'd ask you, how do you feel knowing that they're giving that money that you worked so hard to pay off? First, how hard was it to pay off the $15,000? Do you have a new respect for what $15,000 is? Because it's actually not a small amount of money. Putting together $15,000 is pretty rough because most people don't think of it in terms of getting that lump sum together. It's a lot of money to put together. So I'd first ask, how hard was it to get that $15,000 together? And then after putting that amount of money together to do the right thing, to pay off that debt, how do you feel about them now doing this forgiveness, knowing that you could have possibly fallen under that category as well? Like, what does that make you feel like? That's what I'm curious about, because it's a real-time person that has been through this. And I'd be curious how you feel about this situation. GC gave me a super chat for $5. Here's another college grad. GC says, college grad here and wanted to say you're speaking facts and I am in it. Only real ones will agree with you. GC in the house, in college right now, college grad here, and just wanted to say you're speaking facts and I am in it. Only real ones will agree with you. And I appreciate that, GC. Thank you. And the thing is, it's like, if I get criticized for making a video like this, that's fine. As long as there's individuals that see it and understand that I'm trying to help. Quite frankly, I'm trying to help. I mean, one person is not going to make too much of a difference, but if I am able to inspire a few people to go, wait a minute, how much am I actually spending on this? What am I receiving in return for this? Could I be spending these? It's not just the money you're spending, it's also the time. I mean, I've been building, if people are wondering, like with Mineral Exchange, the process from me getting a bankroll together to build Mineral Exchange and get it to where it is now has been about a 5-6 year process. I don't come from a family that's in precious metals. I don't come from a family of traders. I come from literally nothing. I had anything given to me. No free handouts at all. Started it from the ground up, and it took me about, I'd say 7 years. Probably 7 years actually now. It's somewhere between 6 and 7. But really, it was the last 3 years that it started ramping up. But I remember the first year living in my office building and saying to myself, like, I can't wait until I make enough money to cover my overhead. I remember sitting, like, my overhead was around $1,500. I remember going to this grocery store that was a 24/7 grocery store and eating $1.67 sandwiches. And I would eat those sandwiches every day. And I was just hoping to be able to pay a $1,500 overhead. And I remember when I had enough money after like a year that I was making monthly to pay for my overhead and being so excited about that. Taking showers at the gym. So it's, sorry, it's just like I had like a flashback there for a second. Yeah, you get a different level of respect for the money when you build it, when you know what it feels like to not have it and what it takes to build it up, and you have a different respect for money. It changes things. And so, but if people think like how hard it is to build to where I am now, I told everybody when I was first learning about precious metals and I worked for coin dealers and things like that, it's like, I'm going to own an auction house one day. One day I'm going to own an auction house. I'm going to build it. I don't believe in putting it on eBay. I don't believe in going to these little trade shows. Doesn't float my boat. I'm going to own my own auction house. And people thought I was crazy. People thought I was arrogant, and I am arrogant. I am a little bit in that realm, but I did have that idea, and I just wouldn't let it go. And every day I thought about it. Even also another one of them was when I owned themineralexchange.com, and I wanted to own mineralexchange.com. And the person who owned it wanted an outlandish amount of money and owned Mineral X and Mineral Exchange. And I told myself, I wrote on my wall, mineralexchange.com and mineralx.com. I'm going to own those. I'm getting rid of the. I won't have the anymore because my ADD, OCD mind can't handle it. And that was, it sounds like a short amount of time. It felt like forever, but I mean, it was from zero, literally from negative money in the bank, like negative 20,000 when I was first traveling around pawn shop to pawn shop to pawn shop. From that point to now was about a 7-year journey. And I mean, it's pretty crazy to think about that. But in that time period, my point was 4 years in college is not just the money you spend on college. That's 4 years. I mean, really, the growth in my company wasn't in the first 3 years. In the last 2, 3 years, 4 years, it really started growing quite a bit. And my connections grew quite a bit. And I mean, 4 years is a very long amount of time. So it's not just the money that you're putting into college. It's also the years that you're putting in. What could you do with those years? College actually made me feel unintelligent. I felt very foolish in college. And now I could go to college and teach some social media stuff to people. I could teach some stuff about flipping products to people. I could teach people how to be a hustler, how to go to different pawn shops, go to different, garage sales and stuff and be able to resell online. I could literally do a resale course and probably make a lot of wealthy kids in those classes. And that's arrogant to say that. It's egotistical to say that, but it's true. I know some stuff about selling online that I think, how to ship, how to sell, like all these different things. And I'm not college educated, but they made me feel like the fool there. That's how I felt, at least, when I was in college. And so now, when I realized that if you want to be different in this world, you can't do everything that everybody else is doing. If you want to be vibrant color, you can't sit in a room of gray wearing a gray t-shirt. You just can't. You want to be color? You want to be someone different? You want to be vibrant, walking around the street vibrant? Well, then why are you putting a gray t-shirt on and studying the same information pertaining to the same jobs under a fluorescent light and jamming worthless information in your head? Paying for it to do that, for that opportunity to do that, around all of the people that are studying for the same test as you, learning the same information as you, all wearing the same gray shirt that you're wearing. Anyway, bit of a rant there. Foreign Balance gave me a super chat. I really appreciate that. Says, started in 1965 when Congress made government student loans non-dischargeable in bankruptcy. In 2005, they did the same with private loans. When you have government-backed loans, the price always goes up to it, which equals to higher tuition. Foreign is on point. Foreign Balance is totally on point. I appreciate you saying that. You're exactly right. And it's the subsidies of the government. It's the free money system that makes the money worth less and makes other stuff cost more of that money that's been diluted. It's so funny because it's like, it's basic. I don't even want to call it economics because it's such common sense, but common sense is not common. Voltaire was right. One of my favorite quotes from, I believe it's Voltaire that said that. Common sense is not common. And it seems like common sense, like, oh, well, if you subsidize something and you make the money very easy to get, the price of the thing that they're buying with that money, which you're forced to buy that, they don't give you. If you're 18 years old watching this and you just got approved for a $100,000 loan to go to some college somewhere, ask them, go back to that loan individual, wherever you got that loan from, and go, hey, can I get that loan to start a small business? You're going to give me $100,000 to go to college. But can I get a loan for a small business? I have a really good idea. I want to create a hat company. I got a really idea for a cool hat, and I think it'll be worth millions. I would really like that $100,000 loan to build my hat company. I have a social media presence. I have it all lined up. I got the online store lined up. I just need the $100,000 to build the company. See what they'll do for you. They'll tell you to kick rocks, pound sand. That's what they'll say. We're not giving you no $100,000. We'll only give you $100,000 if it's a secured debt on your life, so you can fill a slot in our corporation. That's why we'll give you $100,000. It gets me a little bit emotional talking about it because it hits me in a soft spot myself. Because college made me feel not good at all. I couldn't wait to get out of college. And it wasn't until later on. I mean, when I was in college, that's when I'd have people saying, oh, you probably have some sort of problem with the way your mind works. You know, you have ADD, you have OCD, you have some Asperger's, all these different things they would tell me. And it's like, no, I just think that I don't think the same and I need to be building my own stuff. I think I'm not interested at all in the things that you're teaching, and it's just a waste of my time, quite frankly. And I think I know in my heart that it's a waste of my time. So I'm angry at myself, and my body is attacking my brain saying, please get us out of here. Please, for the love of God, Rob, leave. I'm not going to allow you to learn any of this information here. I'm shutting off your brain. I think it was my conscience talking to myself, saying, nope, unplug everything. Do not let any of the information retain. Get him out of here at all costs. Like, do not allow any more of this. And I finally forced myself to drop out. But back to what Farin said, I totally agree with you, and I appreciate you bringing that up, and thank you for the super chat. Bite Hunter said, Bite Hunter gave me another super chat. It was hard putting that money together to pay off my student loan. It was a humongous act of courage to force myself to pay off that debt in one full swoop. Bite Hunter paid off a $15,000 debt in one full swoop and is here in this conversation talking about it, trying to warn you out there. We have an actual college-educated individual who got $15,000 in debt, paid it all back, did the right thing, learned the lesson, learned how hard it was to pay that debt back. I have nothing but the utmost respect for Bite Hunter in here, and that is people in this chat should be that is something I can commend and respect. That you did the right thing, you understood that you took that loan, you paid it off, and then you are willing, even after paying it off, even after these individuals in power, I don't know why I'm looking up to the sky here, but these individuals in power that are giving back that kind of money, forgiving that kind of money now, you paid it off, and you still are here saying it wasn't really worth my time, and I'm proud of myself that I was able to pay that off. So nothing but respect for Bite Hunter in here. You're an awesome individual, and I really appreciate you being here. That's just amazing to hear. Vacation time in the house. Thoughts on tomorrow's Fed meeting at Jackson Hole. That'll be what the live stream's about tomorrow. So I'm going to be watching it for sure. I figured out how to do the real-time reactions where I can like play stuff on my screen and actually you can hear it through the thing and then I can react to it in real time. So I've been learning how to do that. By the way, college didn't teach me how to do that. Just for those watching that are in college right now. Anybody that's criticizing me for speaking my points about college right now, learning this SMB, I call it the Joe Rogan mic, learning how this thing operates with the little thing down there connected to my computer, learning how to do this live stream whole thing. I didn't take live stream 101. I didn't do it. To build my website, I didn't go to website 101 building class. I didn't go to howtobuildanauctionhouse.com. You know, I didn't go to how to build an auction house 101 ed. I didn't do that. I didn't pay for any of it. I paid for the equipment. And I bought it. It came in Amazon and I looked at it on the floor and I went, I'm going to figure it out somehow. Somehow, some way, I'm going to figure out how this mic goes to this thing, how this thing goes into this thing, this little Stream Deck thing down here, how to use all this stuff. I learned it all in real time. How to build I didn't go to how to build a production set 101. How to build a podcast set 101, all of this fancy stuff on the walls, all of this here, the lighting, all of this stuff. I didn't go to that class. There was no class for that. It was all on YouTube. I learned it all for free. Everything that I have, everything that I've built is all done for free, all learned, all self-taught. I have no friends helping me. I have no family helping me. Didn't teach all the photography you see on my website is all done by me. And I guess it might come across as an arrogant thing to say, but college didn't teach me any of these skills. Somebody might watch this video and think it takes no skills to make a video like this on YouTube. How to use this mic, how to use a nice camera, how to use lighting, how to make sure this production set looks good, all of this stuff. There's actually a lot that goes into it. Being able to read these comments here on all of these screens, there's like 3 screens. It's super fancy looking over here now at this point. All of this, there's no class on it. How come I didn't pay $100,000 to learn this? I mean, if somebody tried to entice me to learn all of this information, they probably could have got 20 grand out of me. I would have taken a class for that, but there wasn't one that existed. It was all for free. And I just got it for free because I was passionate and I wanted to learn it. And I spent all the money that I could have spent learning how to make a podcast, learning how to put stuff on social media. All that money I could have spent on a class like that, I spent on the equipment itself and started executing on the idea. I didn't take how to build a website class. I paid for the website and started executing on the idea. I didn't pay to go to photography class. I bought a camera and started executing on the idea. All the information was free. So what do I know? What do I know anyway? Think we got, yeah, we got some, I mean, I don't censor the comments, so once in a while we'll get one of those in here, but so I apologize for that. I hope the Fed gives us all 100K just for gigs. Most of us would take the 100 grand and put it straight into silver. You want to know something? I was looking up, I got to make a video on this that reminds me. I was looking at a chart on how much deposits went into Robinhood, how much deposits spiked into Robinhood when they dropped the stimulus packages. There was a huge spike of like $1,200 deposits into Robinhood. That's what people do when you give them free stuff. You see, when you bootstrap something and you know how hard it is to get that money together, it almost makes me cry thinking about just trying to pay my overhead to build what I wanted to build. I literally get almost emotional about thinking about those days. And so I still value things in steak dinners. I value, sometimes I'll take apart how much I pay for rent and value it in hot showers and a washing machine. I'm not even kidding. Like, I can't make that up. I literally will value things in, wow, I got a really nice hot shower. That's got to be worth the $30 a day. And I have a washing machine here. That's at least worth $30 a day. I mean, I'm compounded. I mean, I don't have to drive to the place anymore and all of that. That's got to be worth that. That's how much calculation I'll do based on where I come from. I literally will calculate how much I pay a day in rent on if I got to take a hot shower or not. It's not about the marble fancy floor. It's not about living in a fancy spot. It's not about all of that, even though it's that. It's like, it's not about all of that. It's about, I got to take a hot shower. It's worth at least half what I'm paying that day if I got to take 2 hot showers. That's pretty sweet. But the thing is, it's like if you give money away, you have no respect for that. If you don't know what it's like, if you don't know the opposite perspective, if you don't know what it's like to be homeless, how can you appreciate a hot shower? If all you do is take hot showers every day and it's given to you for free, you have no respect for a hot shower. You don't understand that it's a privilege. So on that note, that's kind of a good place to stop the live stream. I wanted to do a live stream and talk about this for a little bit, and we ended up rambling for a little bit over an hour. But that's the video. I'd really appreciate it before we sign out if you could smash that like button really quick so this video gets out there and more people will be very angry at the things I'm talking about for their worthless college degrees. I'm not sorry at all for saying that. I really think college is a scam. But yeah, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, hit the dislike. That's fine too. Either way. Although nobody will see it. Ha ha ha. Anyway, we only get to see the likes. Only the likes now. Zilla's in the house. Zilla says, I say call it the meter starts running the second you get out of bed. I love that. Yeah, vacation time. I am beating the hornet's nest tonight. This should be fun. We'll see how the comments work out on this one. But at the end of the day, I truly believe in what I'm saying. And if you believe in free speech and you believe that anybody should be allowed to say what they want to say, well, then I'm saying what I want to say. I think college is a scam. That's my personal opinion. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. It seems like there's some individuals in here that went to college that agree that they had to pay off quite a bit. And also, I think that it's blatantly wrong to have people like Byte Hunter in this stream that had to pay $15,000 out of their pocket and knows the pain that it was to pay off that debt. And now Byte Hunter is going to go, I'm going to think a little bit more when I make an investment, because taking on debt is not fun. It's not fun. Paying that back was not fun. And you have that. But the thing is, you get to know that you have what it takes to do that. Not many people have what it takes to do that, Byte Hunter. If you're still watching this, Not many people have what it takes to go, you know what? I'm going to bootstrap myself. I'm going to get 15 G's together and I'm going to pay this off and I'm going to get a mortgage because I want to get a mortgage. I want to buy a rental property, whatever it is that you wanted to buy. You put together the money, you paid off the debt, and you know what? You did that. So you have nothing but, I got nothing but respect for you, and I have nothing but appreciation for you. I appreciate you being here. And even though individuals get to get free stuff after you didn't get to get free stuff, after you had to pay the consequences and, you know, had that burden, you still have the knowledge it took to get that 15 grand together. You have the sacrifices that it took to get that 15 grand together. And I would much rather have that knowledge and those sacrifices than have it paid off for me personally, because that's something that'll pay you dividends in the future. And I'm really proud of you for doing that. Really super cool to hear that in this live stream specifically. And I appreciate you being here for so long on my channel. But that is the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for everybody that's contributed into the comments here and everything. Hopefully it helps some people as much as it might get people not happy with the way that I look at this situation. It's how I look at it. And I'm just going to put my 2 cents out there. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your night. I will see you tomorrow to talk about this Fed meeting. By the way, just to answer real quick to a vacation time, tomorrow we'll talk about that. I'm going to stay on top of it. I can't really comment on it right now, but I think that there's my overall take on the Fed, I guess, is that they're put in a very, very tough position right now where they're playing with fire. And if you asked me if they were going to do multiple 75-point basis hikes about a year ago, I don't know if I would have believed it. I think that would have been playing too much with fire, and they've gotten away with it. And so to me, it's getting to the point where it's like they could cause catastrophe at any given moment. If they could continue to raise it and they could do what they're doing, there hasn't been a single time that they've raised the federal funds rate that fast, that quick, and get it to these levels that didn't cause a recession right after. I've shown that chart many times if you've watched my channel. But we'll talk about it tomorrow. I'll be doing a live stream tomorrow talking about the Fed meeting and all of that. So make sure that you go and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, would really appreciate you being a subscriber. Make sure you like the video. If you feel like liking, if you feel like disliking, hit the dislike. That's fine too. But tomorrow, I will be on tomorrow. Robert Lader just asked what time I'll be on the live stream. Let's say I'm going to try to do it like 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. I think I'll probably try to do it a little bit earlier tomorrow, and we'll talk about it. That's the video, and I will see you all tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed. Also, if you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, at Rob Soltan on Instagram. If you want to see what I do for a living, the stuff that I'm building, more of the kind of pictures of like that thing right there is pretty cool. I just posted that on Instagram right before this video. But I share a little bit more there in regards to like the photos of my collections and a little bit more different type of content over there on the Instagram. And it's a good place to let people know too when I drop a video, so that people can know and be notified when I drop a video. I can put it in the story on Instagram as well. So follow me on Instagram, at Rob Soltan on Instagram. I try my best to get back to the DMs, but sometimes it gets a little bit crazy in the DMs, but I try my best to get back to all of those. Anybody who wins a big auction on my auction site, I call personally. So there's that. If anybody is interested in getting into some collectible gold and silver, if you win a big auction, if you win over an auction over, let's say $500, $1,000 or something, I usually personally call those individuals. There's quite a few auctions, so my time is sometimes I'll talk for 30 minutes, an hour on the phone with individuals that win an auction, and it's like, okay, I can do this. I gotta be a little careful here because it's starting to scale up. We're at 51 auctions a week now on the website, so I'm trying my best, but I will call you personally if you win a big auction on the site. So thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for being here in the video. Signing out. See you tomorrow.